Connie Potter and Robert Pofahl have their differences when it comes to the future of the dead trees and brown grass, still known as the Las Cruces Country Club.
So our lives and our property values are going to be tremendously affected by what decisions are made here.
Potter sits in the living room of her well-appointed home that looks out over Desert Drive. Her property is on the edge of land Robert Pofahl's company wants to develop.
But they go from R1 residential to high-intensity commercial. Bam. Parking lots, cars 24 hours a day. And you need to realize a hospital operates 24/7. We will have ambulances coming up our streets. Lights and sirens 24 hours a day.
Across town, Bob Pofahl is in his office in Picacho Hills. It's a much newer luxury golf course community with a thriving golf course.
My father had a lot of rental property, and when we were kids, you either went to school, played sports, or worked on his property. Yeah. And so we started pouring concrete and building homes when we were in high school. Fast
forward to today. Pofahl is the founder and developer of Picacho Hills. Before that, he built more than 24 hotels. Potter earned an RN and MBA and spent a career managing trauma centers across the country. You see, Potter and Pofahl aren't that different. They're both the very image of successful baby boomers, and just like many boomers today, they're still in the game, still calling the shots. Again, Bob Pofahl.
We drove the trends in housing and the whole suburban development. We drove, the automobile industry and the birth of that. We drove retail, we changed hospitality, and now that we're aging, we're changing healthcare.
All things considered, it's not too bad of a day to play golf. It's sunny here, it's a little warm, but not too bad really. But where I'm standing at the Las Cruces Country Club, it's likely there's never going to be any golf played here ever again. And it's not hard to see why. Right next to me, trees just like this one, with branches that break apart in your hand.
The idea for the hospital came to Pofahl before the land. Of any potential ideas for development, his company looked at the numbers. He was confident.
We researched and were very sure that it economically didn't make sense as a country club ever again.
Why a hospital instead of, say, a large shopping center? In the real estate business, a good tenant is a long tenant.
It's probably going to be a 20-year lease.
Also in the neighborhood is John Stevens, president of the Country Club Neighborhood Association. Stevens knew the course would eventually close. He petitioned the city to make it a park 7 years ago. They said no.
So we can't have that. We'd like to see a development with more open space, green space, and not complete wall-to-wall infill, which this development is 110 acres of complete infill. The developer has said he'll allow 40 feet of green space back there. Well, 40 feet is not very big. And then a 40-foot setback from the buildings that he'll build, 2-story buildings. That could be a parking lot, it could be anything. It's a setback, but that's 80 feet to the closest building from our house, 2 stories high. And to go from residential to C3 commercial in one big jump is ridiculous.
Now the last point of contention is to realign Madrid Avenue.
Here is the one we're talking about, and it just clips a little corner of Apodaca Park right here.
That decision will come down to the city of Las Cruces in a vote. Whatever happens, John Stevens tells me this is home.
We love it there. We bought it 13 years ago for retirement. It's paid for. We're comfortable. Used to have a beautiful view. Yeah, we'll stay.
Sloan Patton, KRWG News, Las Cruces.